Let's talk about inflation and whether we're looking at any kind of healthier growth in the global economy.
Yeah, overall growth is stabilizing. It's global growth bottomed, let's say, about 18 months, 24 months ago. And the curveball here is that if you've got growth that seems to be maturing, this acceleration in growth implies very different leadership than in the last 18 months.
And just to prove what we're talking about, or at least illustrate, I should say, what we're talking about, let's have a look at 9286 in the Bloomberg chart library. It shows consumer spending pulling back, which is matching the CPI decline. Now, some of the CPI decline is obviously, related to healthcare costs and also related to things like cell phone, one-time usage and stuff.
Yeah, some of our work, we raised the phrase digital deflation, and this idea links back to this recent Amazon announcement to purchase Whole Foods. And this idea is that what you have is technology that took over the factory floor in the last 50 years. What it's doing, we believe, is moving into the services sector of the economy. So ultimately, what this really means is a much more sloppier or mixed wage comparisons. As a result, inflation data remains benign.
How long will that continue to be the case? Because I know you're making the case that we're only just in the beginning of the technology revolution.
Yeah, I think from a portfolio standpoint, and because there's so many parts to this story, but from a portfolio standpoint, the real linkage is that if the rates picture remains benign over the next 12, 18, or 24 months, what it really means is this sort of chase for visible growth. So the real water on the fire here is really that if you get inflation to really spark, that effectively points to more cyclical deep value leadership. So what's coming together is this idea that if you have disinflationary signals, you have a peaking out of growth rates, and global growth rates are benign, even with the recovery.
One of your recent reports is titled Short Strategies to Struggle in Another Nifty 50 Run.
Yeah.
But you're not really talking here about value stocks then, you're talking about an orientation to growth. Is it easy to find growth stocks that aren't sort of already played out, though?
Well, I think if we're right, the phrase played out is terribly important. What we're getting at is that there are periods in markets where overvalued stocks become more overvalued. So the idea here is be careful really in becoming contrarian. And the linkage to the hedge fund environment is also very, I think, pointed in the sense that what we've seen in some of the research we've published, that the best times for hedge fund results were coincident to where valuations mattered. So if we're going into a period where valuations are less relevant, in other words, the chase for growth, not only do value managers struggle, but the short books in hedge funds also struggle.